Hello everybody, this is Make It Better, and today we're doing What If Deku Was a Mutant Part 8. Before I start, let me explain why it took a whole week of me not for me to start this up. I have basically two reasons. The first one, that whole week it was of the last year, all of that. It was more like I had a whole week off, and well, I used up the whole time cleaning, building, and repairing anything and everything in inside and outside of my house, my home. So it took up a lot of my time, so I didn't really have a chance to think it through. Also, on two, I was really stuck on both of them. I had no idea how to make the story even better or even change. I didn't know what the story was going to. So I needed a whole week just to think through what I want. So it took me that long. So yeah, that's basically the reason. It's still gonna be slow, about like 2 or 3 videos a week. More because it's still cold and I'm kind of like a bear. I just slow down everything around me. With all that said, Happy New Year's. I hope you enjoy this year and many more as I try my best. With that said, let's get into it. And I believe, no, I'm not, probably 18 plus, but I'm just giving it the warning now. You'll see if it's in the title or not. With that said, let's get into it. Last time I left off, Aizawa was telling the classroom that they had to go through the yearly or the semester test and of mental and physical. So they're moaning and groaning about all of this because they were given a 2 weeks notice by all of this. So Aizawa and everybody else basically had to work hard on all of the paperwork. After class and after school, everybody was discussing and basically talking about their grades and how bad and they might fail on their grades. By this point, Zuko got up and walked away because he easily can take care of all of this. But when he went and he's basically going home, Momo gave him a slight glance and then went back to talking with the group. Now they have their study sessions and every day is somewhere, mostly over at Momo's and other people's, but that's it. Moving on for another scene, Zuko was sitting on his couch, finished his homework and just watching some TV until Nezu comes in and throws a pile of magazines that he took from other students that weren't allowed to have them in school onto Zuko's chest. And Zuko asked him, "What's all of this for?" And Nezu said, "Paperwork. Read all of this and report to me if any of them were out of line." And Zuko looks at all of these and said, fine. Okay. Where's the pen? He was given a pen and start reading through the paperwork. The magazines of all different types that any high school would have, or a college. Yeah, they're college. Keep forgetting. Damn. No, high school. God damn it. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's still the same. Now the next day comes. Everybody is, talking about how Momo's house was so big in another room and comparing to everything else, and also getting help by Momo To- Toroki, somewhat. He's there, he's just not really there, if that makes sense. He's just not good with grades or good with telling people how to do grades. Yeah, that. So it goes on for 3 days until at the end of the school day, Aizawa tells the class president and vice president that they had to stay longer for more paperwork about their classroom and up and coming events. As he knows that Zuko does not like any of this and just give a huge sigh of being so tired about all of this and just kind of tick his mouth. Dang it, like that. And Mom was just happy that she had a chance to be alone with Zuko. And she has been talking with some of the girls on her point of view, what she thinks of Zuko. Not too much to give it away, but most of them kind of get it. So now they're sitting like right next to each other on a table, going through a bunch of paperwork. Zuko's mostly doing most of the work. Basically the ones that she had no idea came with being a class president, but she's doing it. It's getting real late. The sun's going down and it's becoming more of a orange than a yellow. Dang, I'm so tired. But as one paperwork was done, Zuko kind of laid down his head and closed his eyes and was somewhat sleeping. As Momo tells him to get up, it's no time for sleep. We have a few more papers to go. Zuko said, I'm not sleeping, just closing my eyes. Which Momo kind of said, that counts as sleeping. Zuko lifts his head up, looks straight at Momo, and Momo, feeling a glare of two pair of eyes looking at her, and she turns a little bit red and asks Zuko, why are you looking at me like that? Zuko said, no reason. So, and Momo said, so what? Zuko finally gets back up, straightening out his back, kind of pops a few of his spine, says, so. He kind of leans on the window and asks her this. So why have you been looking at me throughout the whole class, the whole classroom period? Which almost said, what? I don't know what you mean. Being very clueless on what he is talking about. Zuko said, don't give me that. I was trained in a young age to know who's looking at me intently, and I know for sure that you have. So what's the deal? What did you need or want? And Momo tried to, make a lie of some sort, and Zook said, don't lie. I can tell. Just say it. It's better if you just say it. And Mom said, it's, well, you see, it's, she's thinking to herself, is this a good time to confess? Or it could be a worse time and he might even regret. I don't know the word. Fuck. And decline her. Crap, I can't remember the words. And she's basically going to a blank. And she said, I don't know what you mean. Trying to pretend she didn't hear any of that. Zook said, okay, so you're playing dumb. Never figure you to play that, but I guess I'll go first. I have contained some knowledge on this particular subject, and I do not know where I stand. Which Momo's now so very confused and said, if it's something that the teacher has taught, we can always like ask him afterwards, right? I think there's some teachers. And Zook said, no, it's not something that the teachers has taught us. Zuko picks up his bag, pull out a few books, and put them on the table. Momo sees, and those are the same exact magazines that she's been reading to try to get a guy to notice her, and more. And she's starting to get a little nervous and a little scared on what's coming up next. And Zuko went on along, said, and it just makes me realize most of the things that you and some other girls has been doing to me, Todoroki, and Bakugo. And over in our older school, you have done that to me once or twice on a few of these, whatever these have said. Would you please explain to me why? And Momo said, well, I wanted to see if I wanted to Zook said, it's okay, you can just talk out loud. I'm not gonna judge. I figure most girls would try to understand their feelings. And he's just sitting there and waiting for what he knew all along. And Momo finally said, I wanted to test out these questionnaires and how these phrasing questions work. So whenever I ever ask someone out, him, that he will probably say yes. And Zook said, okay, you're making this way harder than it needs to be. Then I'll come out and say it. I noticed that you've been staring at me this whole time. I noticed that you have been either more chipper, happier, or smiling more when I'm around. And I do notice how you act around other people. Tell me when I'm getting too close. Third, you always wanted to sit next to me, even on areas and places that seem so very awkward to do so. even on places where it's supposed to be a focus on your own work, not on me. And he says a few more other things, and Momo said, "Stop, stop!" She's getting completely embarrassed, and said, "Okay, I get it. You knew, but you didn't say anything. I know it was. She's saying all of this. I know it was a silly, a thing that us girls do, but it's always a back of our heads just to see if it could, ever happen. And yeah, you were cute and you look strong, and as she kind of like tearing up, I said, and I know that I'm not pretty or good enough for you, but I just really want to at least think about us in the future, and you being like my boyfriend. I can't. Why can't I say that? As she's kind of like covering her eyes and somewhat crying, Zuko let her speak out her truth. And Zuko finally said, after a few minutes and him getting some tissues, giving it to her for her to wipe away her tears, Zuko speak his piece. I mean, I was not against the idea, which Momo, completely wide-eyed, looked straight at Zuko in confusion, completely, and Zuko went on. I mean, I did not know the term blunt or a blockhead. I think I followed that to the T. Don't you say? I only knew about all of this because I had to read all of this for work, study, more culture, everything else. See what I was missing. So I did not know the whole time. I knew you were staring at me all this time. I just didn't think it was me. I thought it was like somebody else. And I mean, I had to do more research about this, and Momo's getting a little more hopeful by this point. The next word that he might say could be the ones that she really wants him to say. And she's just getting butterflies all over again at that moment that she realized she liked him. And Zuko finally replies with, "We can try it out and see how things go. I mean, if you like to, that is." And Momo happily got off of her chair and started jumping around, saying, yes, all happy like, "Yes, let's do that. Let's test it out. That." As she's kind of happy at this moment, she kind of don't know what else to do and completely went blank. She picked up her bags, whatever paperwork that was left over, and just said, "Yeah, I'll just see you, like, I'll see you, and keep saying see you," and then until she just stumbles all the way to the door and runs off. Completely blushing mess. Her cheeks were red to the point where it almost feels like it's gonna pop, and she's running all the way to the limo that was parking out front the whole time. She got in, slammed the door, just tells the chauffeur just to go, just to go. And nothing happened, nothing happened. And the chauffeur speed off. Zuko said, huh, I guess that went well. And then he looks back down and looks, there's more paperwork to do. He should, and he says to himself, I should have waited until all of this was done. Now I have to do it all. Damn it. And she took the other half. Oh man, it was a pain just to finish that part. And he started writing on the paper. Later on, ending at the end, Zuko takes the rest of the paper that was his half and gave it to the teachers that was still left in school. After that, he went over to his home, took a shower, and went to sleep after eating, had dinner and went to sleep. Moving on to Momo's scene, she finally gets over to her mansion, very excited and very happy that she skipped her dinner. Didn't say hi to neither of her parents because they were mostly at work or at a meeting. Went all the way to her room, and just screamed to the top of her lungs in her pillows as long as she can. Very happy. Very, very happy. Now, moving on to the next scene. In the morning, Zuko got in, same as always, early as always, and just sleep on the table. But when Momo finally comes in, she say hi to everybody like always. But when she gets close to Zuko, she just gets more butterflies, even more nervous. She's actually twitching at some areas. And she tried to say hello to Zuko, and he is not waking up. She tries again, and one more time, until Zuko finally wakes up, looks over and sees Momo, and when their eyes met, Momo completely blushed and basically walked away kind of stiffly. Zuko thinks it's about time that he gets up. He finally awakens and said, "Oh." As she's walking away, he says, "Oh, good morning, Momo." Which she did not reply and went right next on her seat and just waiting for the teacher. Classes went over like always for a few times, and the awkwardness between Momo and Zuko, mostly from Momo, that gives one person a huge nerve that wants to know what's going on. So Mina, after Aizawa leaves and everybody was going for lunch, she walks a lot faster because Momo was one of the first ones to leave, and Zuko's always the last. Asks Momo, "What? So, you and Zuko?" And Momo kind of said, "Yeah, what about me and Zuko?" And Mina said, "Well, nothing really. It's just that you guys you seem very nervous for some reason. Did something big happen? Like, nudge, nudge, a confession?" And Momo said, uh, oh, Here's the food. And she gives one plate to Mina and walks away with no plates on her tray, seemingly going down on a chair and, well, pretend to eat what she was planning to eat. And Mina sees how completely nervous that Momo is, decide to go and focus on Zuko after she put her food down, had some food, and wait until Zuko finally get to the cafeteria. And Momo already had to stand back up, going back in line, get actual food, and sit down. Mina finally gets over to Zuko after Zuko finally sits down and has some of his cereal. Yes, he eats cereal for lunch. Sue me. Please don't. There'll be a stupid reason to get sued by. Here we go. Now Mina asks Zuko what's happened between you and Momo. Zuko, after finishing his food, still crunching on it, said, thinks about either tell them or not. And they need to be more focused on the test, so he will not. And said, I don't know what you mean. Momo's just acting normal. As he gives a blank stare at Mina, her feeling like she's getting stared right through her soul and being told not to ask any more questions. The same glare that she gets from Aizawa every single time she gets a failing grade. And that pushed her back just enough where she does not want to ask anymore. Mina sits down with all the girls as Momo, at the very end, was finished with her food and started to leave. Mina gives a huge sigh and the girls ask what's going on. Mina explains that she noticed what has happened, but she can't ask any more questions since Zuko, as she gives a very furious look, kind of glare, towards Zuko as he's eating his food, his cereal, that he did not give her any answers. And, well, Suyu comes by, asks what's the question you want to ask him. And she said these, and Suyu just gets up, walks over to Zuko, asks him about these. Zuko said, the stare does not work on her. I'll tell you, but you're not allowed to tell them. Deal? I mean, Suyu said, I mean, that's a good deal and all, but I was more asking for Mina. Zuko said, Okay. I'll allow you to tell Mina. But you really need to focus on your schoolwork. The test is going to be very hard. And tell that to her too. As he also answers the first two questions and not the third. So she finally leaves with this information and only basically tell the girls that, yeah, I'm only allowed to tell Mina and only after the test is over. Sorry, girls. As the girls just mad that they're not gonna get the tea until 2 weeks later, but still someone's gonna have something, as they're very curious on what's happening. Mina was put aside by Tsuyu in the first two questions on if what happened to Zuko and Momo. Basically, Zuko knew that Momo had a crush on him, and he did not reject her exactly, but gave her a chance. And then the second question, are they dating? And that be on a maybe. And then Tsuyu also tells her about the other stuff that Zuko told her. Now, Mina's very happy for these two and the first couple of 1A, but sadly realized that the test is going to be a lot harder than she initially thought. So afterwards, end of the day, ooh, so tired. Ooh. Ooh. Now, after all of this, they have their study session. After school, all that. Now, after Zuko's over at his home, in his room, studying. And just basically was given the test and the physical exam right then and there, after 1 week. And it was getting close to Friday, since it was a Wednesday, what Zuko said, and then a Thursday. So technically, the next day is Friday. Now I'm going to go back on Thursday, their study session. Momo's being more diligent and more focused on the work itself, trying to push back the conversation they had to focus on the grades, of course. After everybody finally leaves, and okay, I had to move for a bit. What was I at? Okay, so yep. Where was I? Where was I at? So after she was finished with everybody else's and focused and pushing back the memories, it was somewhat of an awkward area because, well, most of the girls kept asking her a question and she tried to avoid every single of those questions into an answer. Mostly of the ones that, well, you know. Hold on, let me just stop here. I need to work on something.